What is going on, Summoners? We're back here today with another Champion Deep Dive. Today, we're talking about Nico Minoru. So, sit back and relax, cause it's time to get into it. Nico enters the contest as a powerful blood mage. Each time she gains a total of 5% of her max adrenaline, she gains a 20% fury passive for 15 seconds. These max out at 7 stacks. And as a defender, Nico stores 40% of all damage taken as adrenaline. While she has more than 5% of her max health stored as adrenaline, she gains an indefinite flourish passive, increasing her ability power rate by 15%. As an attacker, the first hit of Nico's heavy consumes 7% of her current health and stores it as adrenaline. On the final hit of her heavy attack, or when canceling this attack with a special 1 or 2, she gains a Zeal passive, lasting for 6 seconds. Zeal effects prevent adrenaline from decaying while active. When Nico activates any special attack, she passively converts up to 4% of her max health stored as adrenaline into health. This conversion scales with the level of special attack used. Don't worry about finishing a fight without converting that leftover adrenaline, because Nico will enter the next fight of the quest with 100% of the adrenaline she finished the previous fight with. And, on top of that, the personal furies gained from the stored adrenaline gain 200% increased duration. Now, Nico's heavy charge and her third light attack place an indefinite pentacle buff on the opponent. Pentacle buffs represent the inherent harmony of the natural world, but sadly have no in-game effect. Nico passively gains 2% of her max power whenever the opponent gains any buff. But when one or more buffs are removed or prevented by immunity, she gains 3% of her max power instead. She also gains 1% of her missing health as stored adrenaline. Nico doesn't benefit from the Mystic Dispersion Mastery. Instead, each rank increases the base potency of her personal power gains by 10%. She can also inflict an 11-second buff immunity debuff with her special 2 that is refreshed whenever she launches a special. While defending, this effect becomes passive, and she can't apply her buff immunity if it is already active. Nico is magically bound to the Staff of 1, and it allows her to cast potent pre-fights before entering a fight. Each pre-fight lasts until the opponent is defeated, and can only be cast once per quest. Nico's Unworthy spell allows her to inflict her personal buff immunity at the start of the fight. While defending, she always casts the Unworthy spell. Her Absorb spell grants her a 55% Stimulate passive while blocking, which increases her combat adrenaline by the listed amount. Her Ward spell grants her immunity to poison and rupture effects. And her Burn spell replaces her poison effects with Incinerates, but these Incinerates deal 30% less damage. Now, let's check out her special attacks. On activation of the special 1, she inflicts a Halt passive for 13 seconds that is refreshed whenever she launches a special. Additionally, the final hit deals a burst of energy damage increased by 20% for each damaging effect on the opponent, up to 10. This burst can trigger through block, and as a defender, the total potency is reduced by 50%. After the final hit, Nico gains an invisibility passive for 4 seconds. As an attacker, if Nico causes an attack to miss, this invisibility goes on cooldown for 15 seconds. With the special 2, each hit inflicts a 30-second poison debuff paused during the opponent's special attacks. If a cosmic opponent is immune to any of Nico's poisons, she inflicts a matching acid burn instead. Additionally, the final hit inflicts Nico's personal buff immunity. As a defender, the buff immunity applies on activation. The Special 3. This attack gains increased attack rating for each damaging effect on the opponent. Additionally, the first time this attack is used each fight, Nico increases the duration of her personal effects by 50% for the rest of the fight. Now, let's check out her signature ability. When awakened, whenever a buff or personal effect on the opponent other than poison is removed or prevented by immunity, Nico inflicts a 12-second poison passive. These max out at 20 stacks. Additionally, personal effects on the opponent are paused during Nico's special attacks. And whenever Nico causes an attack to miss, she gains adrenaline of up to 2% of her max health. This has a 0.5 second cooldown. Now, let's take her out for a spin in the champion rotation. To begin, strike the opponent and focus on your third light attack to start placing your pentacle buffs on the opponent. You can also work in some heavy attacks to consume health and store it as adrenaline, so you start ramping your furies. Don't worry, that Zeal passive will prevent your adrenaline from decaying. Continue this process as you build to your special 2, and launch once available to stack on your poisons and activate your buff immunity. From here, use your special 1 to burst the opponent and go invisible, then just repeat until they're knocked out. Now, if you're up against an opponent with a lot of buffs, you might want to activate her Unworthy spell pre-fight, allowing her to start the fight with her buff immunity debuff active, so you could get the ball rolling against those pesky cosmics without fear of dealing with any of their buffs, and punishing them whenever they try to gain one. And hey, if you're looking for some poison or rupture immunity, you might be interested in activating that ward spell, allowing her to take some defenders and nodes she otherwise wouldn't be able to. But keep in mind, each of these pre-fights can only be used once per quest, so be sure to scout ahead to plan out how you want to cast those spells. Thank you for watching this champion deep dive for Nico Minoru. And hey, if you liked the video and want to see more, click subscribe, like, comment, and share. And if you haven't already, join the official Marvel Contest of Champions Discord and come discuss. And remember, we'll see you in the Battle Realm.